quality suppliers, and purchase prices. Now that you know how to go about choosing what product you should be selling on Amazon FBA, it's time for you to know the best practices in searching for suppliers and determining the proper purchase prices. This is important because you are going to want to make sure that the products you sell are of good quality, but you also want to make sure that you make your margins as reasonable as possible in order for you to turn a profit quickly without alienating the consumer market. Yes, you can go ahead and buy the most expensive materials possible for you to manufacture your product, but that could potentially lead to you having razor-thin margins. You can also try to source the cheapest materials that you can find on the market so that you have huge margins. However, you are also putting yourself at risk of having low-grade or even defective products. The trick here is finding a balance between affordability and quality. This video is dedicated to guiding you towards sourcing the best possible materials and finding the best suppliers for your online business. Local distributor versus imported materials. There are certain advantages that come with going domestic for sourcing your materials, but there are also going to be a couple of drawbacks in doing so as well. When you choose to go domestic, the biggest advantage that you have is that deliveries are much quicker and less of a hassle. You are also less likely to have to engage in bulk ordering, which means that inventory is going to be easier to manage. However, there are also plenty of downsides. For one, the variety and diversity in the domestic market aren't going to be as impressive as the international one. That means you're going to have to limit choices. Also, domestic suppliers tend to be more expensive than international ones, especially the suppliers you can find in China. There's a reason why the Chinese economy is booming. It's a hotbed for mass market retail and manufacturing. Chinese suppliers are often able to offer very competitive rates with their materials, and they are going to offer a much more varied array of options as well. However, you also tend to get what you pay for. A lot of the time, Chinese materials compromise quality for the sake of quantity. In addition to that, international shipping might be an additional pain in the butt. Ultimately, there are pros and cons to both sides. However, it seems like the trend is manufacturers leaning heavily towards China for their supplies. There is just that big of a disparity when it comes to pricing without having to take too much of a dip in quality. Top 3 websites for Chinese suppliers. If you do indeed choose to go the international route and you opt for Chinese suppliers for your materials and parts, then you are going to want to know how to go about finding these suppliers properly. You might feel intimidated at having to reach out to someone halfway across the globe for your supplies, but it doesn't really have to be a scary ordeal at all. The whole point of the internet is that it brings people closer together in spite of the distance. These are some of the go-to sites that Amazon FBA entrepreneurs tend to go to for all their supply needs. Alibaba. Alibaba is undoubtedly the biggest supplier for e-commerce in the entire world. There is a reason why its founder and CEO, Jack Ma, is also the richest man in China. The website plays host to millions of users who use their supplies for their own personal brands and businesses. Most of the people who sell their products on Amazon are likely to be sourcing their materials from Alibaba. Dhgate. Dhgate is one of the most recognizable brand names in the supply industry. They are able to offer quality products that can compete with those of Alibaba's at incredibly wholesale prices. They are able to offer discounts as high as 70% off the prices that you would typically see on the normal market. These discounts are not insignificant for Amazon sellers who are looking to squeeze as much as they can out of their margins. It also has a good reputation for delivering quality customer service while being a user-friendly website as well. Aliexpress. Even though Aliexpress is owned by Alibaba, they aren't necessarily the same thing. Alibaba is essentially an umbrella company that houses a lot of other subsidiaries that offer similar services. However, there are certain nuances that set them apart from each other. The big difference between Aliexpress and Alibaba is in the quantities of the orders. Aliexpress is still able to offer relatively low prices for their materials without having to require large volumes of orders. Economical without compromising quality. Unfortunately, finding the right supplier can frequently boil down to a lot of trial and error. You shouldn't be too frustrated if things don't work out well for you on the first try, the second try, or even the third try. Sometimes finding the right supplier can be like finding the person you want to marry. You might have to meet a few bad ones before you can finally settle on the one who can help your business grow into what you have always envisioned it to be. Again, it's all about being able to find that right balance for you and your business. You want to make sure that you are creating and manufacturing the best products possible with the highest quality materials you can find. However, you also want to make sure that you aren't putting too much time and effort into your business without yielding the profits that you want for yourself. Learn how to be economical, but never do so at the compromise of quality and vice versa. Please like the video and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy watching these videos.